The Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, is hoping to settle on the new owner of ECG by the second quarter of next year. The authority has begun the final round of engagements with these potential investors to help complete the process as scheduled. The manager of the reforms unit at MIDA, Mike Iwa, has been speaking with JoyNews.
This is the second bidders conference for the PSP and ECG project activity of the Power Compact.
And what is the purpose of the conference?
You recall that sometime in August last year we issued an RFP for the project, and in May.
What an RFP mean?
Request for proposals. It's basically a document inviting the whole world that we're doing this project, and that if you are interested, these are the rules. See whether you can engage with us. And in May this year, we had a first bidders conference. The purpose was to explain the request for proposals so that they can understand it from our perspective and give us a proposal. At that point, we needed to add some documents to the request for proposals. As we speak now, we have added all of those documents. So as it were, we have the full request for proposals, and this second bidders conference is designed to answer all their questions on the document and to look at their perspectives. But the main purpose is for us to bring clarity to the process so they understand it from our perspective, so they write a proposal that is fit for purpose.
So which are the companies that are here?
We have a number of companies. They include NG, that is led by a group from France. We have the CH group led by a Ghanaian company. We have Manila Electric Company of the Philippines. We have Tata and CDC from India, and we have BXC from China.
Is this any different from the bidders who came from the first bidders conference?
It's the same bidders that we have. We are explaining the process further so they can understand it and write a good proposal.
So help us understand what exactly has been taking place today.
What has been taking place today is that we are meeting one of the pre-qualified bidders. They have specific comments, questions, recommendations, etc. that we are addressing.
And this would continue with all the pre-qualified bidders?
Yes. If you look at the press release that we gave out, it is from the 2nd to the 6th. And on each day we meet one pre-qualified bidder.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry will soon outdoor a new business regulatory strategy to be used as a benchmark to regulate investments into the country. The ministry is doing this in collaboration with other state agencies to attract business into the country. The strategy will also help to eliminate some barriers hindering business development. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Carlos Ahenkra disclosed this at this year's Exporters Forum in Accra. There's more in the following report.
Several challenges encountered by businesses in obtaining permits to establish themselves will soon be reduced as government embarks on reforms to attract more foreign direct investment. Speaking at the 77th Ghana Exporters Forum, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Carlos Ahenkra stated that the decision to have a national business regulatory system is critical to the growth of the economy through FDIs.
Of course, including labor. So within the framework of this goal and in line with the President's vision for rapid industrialization to deliver jobs, the Ministry of Trade and Industry and other collaborating ministries, departments and agencies have developed a 3-year business regulation strategy which aims to modernize the quality of business legal and regulatory systems to promote faster growth, job creation, and economic prosperity. The strategy is designed to be systematic and permanent in its effects by changing how the government designs and implements business regulations in the future. Within the broader National Economic Forum agenda, the business regulation system or strategy aims to eliminate constraints to economic development, deepen and broaden current reform efforts in order to establish a national regulatory environment that sustainably reduces red tape and barriers and better promotes private sector activity and job creation. Distinguished exporters, we are optimistic that this strategy will enhance your operations for better performance in ensuing years.
The event was also used to unveil the newly rebranded Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, in line with the new export promotion strategy. Gipti Clenan is the chief executive of GEPA.
Ghana Export Promotion Authority is lost in the system, and the focus was not clearly defined. And so for us, one of the vision was to bring in and relaunching GEPA to get the public and then the entire nation get the awareness that export is the stronghold of one of the sectors that can promote and transform the economy. And by so doing, we needed to relaunch and then change the face of GEPA. So the whole rebranding is about making sure that the awareness of the existence of the institution, which has been mandated to promote, develop, and market exports.
The authority is hopeful of using its new brand to contribute to the target of a double-digit growth by government.
The current economic developments have resulted in more airlines increasing their flight frequency to Ghana, as well as new ones expressing interest to fly to the country. The latest to increase their frequency is Brussels Airlines from 5 to 6 times in a week. Speaking to Joy Business at the inauguration of the airline's new office at the airport city, the country manager for Brussels Air, Rita Macedo, said they are committed to offering enhanced services to passengers.
Brussels Airlines currently flies 5 times a week to Ghana's capital, Accra, on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays for smooth connectivity to its European destinations and the United States. Speaking to Joy Business at the inauguration of the airline's new office, the country manager, Rita Macedo, said they are looking to increase their flights.
We would love to increase more flights, but of course this is a complicated process. But we would love to. We will see in the future if we can increase at least one more flight to have 6 flights a week, because for the moment we fly every day except Tuesdays and Sundays. But you know, on an airline sometimes it's difficult because you have to find enough aircrafts and the rotations and so on. But definitely this is something that we are looking at.
Minister for Aviation Cecilia Dapas said her outfit is also working hard to ensure that Ghanaians enjoy the best of aviation services.
We've had great interaction with all the airlines that are here. We've had breakfast meetings, we've attended various retreats. Some have come to give us talks about their operations. And it's a calendar we are going to follow strictly so that we get involved in what is happening in the aviation sector vis-a-vis the airlines that transport Ghanaians and other visitors from here to other parts of the world. We have a vision to make Kotoka International Airport the aviation hub of the ECOWAS region, which has a population of about 350 million. And I believe as Ghana gets better, with the excellent leadership provided by our dear President, more people will have access to some of these good airlines and travel to go and do business or attend conferences or visit relations or just go for tourism.
This month marks 2 years of Brussels Airlines operations in Ghana.
To another story unfolding, members of the Concerned Drivers Association this morning stormed the premises of the multimedia group here at Kokomlimle to demand government reduces fuel prices. The drivers, who were clad in red armbands, singing and chanting slogans, say government has betrayed them. They say they voted for the Akufo-Addo government because he promised to reduce fuel prices. The drivers are giving government a 3-day ultimatum, or else they'll picket the Energy Ministry.
Each and every day when you wake up as a driver, or a taxi driver, or a tractor driver, or a sprinter driver, or Okada driver, the only thing you hear is the fuel has been increased. As we are talking, the fuel, when then government was on power, the fuel was 14 cedi. Now how come this government is on power? Then he has already promised us that he is coming so that our work will be easy for us, for the fuel will come down. Why should the fuel, should we buy fuel more than 22 cedi? It's cheating. The government is cheating us. We are working and the profit is going to the government. When you look at the fuel price now, the taxes are close to 50%, 49%. Why should we be working and paying taxes close to 49%? So we are telling the government to reduce the fuel price for us as he promised. Because when it was 14 cedi, he promised us that he's going to reduce it. So if he's going to reduce it and he has not reduced it, then he should rather bring it to 14 for us. Because the fuel is really killing us. It's killing our business. Somewhere last week, we sent a letter to the Flagstaff House. And so last Friday, they called us and we went there. And you know what's surprising? They only decreased petrol 1.6% and rather increase diesel 1.5%. Is it not cheating?
The solution is to increase your fares.
So if look, the government is saying we should not increase our fares, right? So we are telling the government if somewhere last week, even it was on graphic, that Bachejak was telling us the government can do nothing about, they can do nothing to reduce the fuel price. So
3 days they are giving government. Meanwhile, local oil marketing company GOIL has reduced petrol and diesel prices at the pumps across the country. Some stakeholders, including the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers and the Institute of Energy Security, had predicted hikes in petroleum prices before the opening of the second pricing window of October. However, speaking with Joy Business, Chief Operating Officer of GOIL, Alex Josiah Azeo, said the over 5% reduction in petrol prices was because crude prices have relatively stabilized. He was of the view that other oil marketing companies will also reduce prices to reflect the current conditions.
And, petrol used to be at 4 cedis 41 pesos. Now we have come down to 4 cedis 36 pesos. So it means that we went down by 5 pesos. And then for diesel, I've realized that for diesel, others have gone up, but we have come down on the diesel by 2 pesos. So this is for the pricing window, and the signs are that it's still going down. So once it still goes down, you'll see further reductions. We are just praying that it will be sustained. You know, the conditions on the international market will sustain the going down of the product. And once it goes down, our open market price will reflect same.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
We are not an island on ourselves. The industry is very, very sensitive to what happens outside. So you will recall that the flooding situation in Texas and Houston, Florida, and where some of the refineries are located, and because of that, production became a problem, and all attention was turned onto those parts of the states. So what it meant was that any vessel that want to come to Africa, you have to pay higher premium, because all attention was on the U.S. So it made the price, go up. Fortunately and thankfully, prices have started stabilizing, and for petrol and the rest, we are seeing signs of it coming down. And as usual, we have always said that we always have the customers at heart. So anytime, we will not unnecessarily increase price. But if the international scene dictates that we have to do so, we do so. And thankfully, prices are getting down. So we had to quickly review our prices to move in tandem with the industry. And because we are the pace setters, I'm sure that very soon you'll see that everybody will follow suit. But I can assure you that we are among the first to, come down on prices to reflect the changes on the international market.
In other news tonight, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has indicated it can only caution the public on dealings of gold buying firm Men's Gold rather than closing down the institution. This follows recent announcement by the Commission that the company was not licensed to operate in the capital market. It is coming after a similar warning by the Bank of Ghana against depositing money with the gold buying firm. The two regulators have been criticized by sections of the public for not doing enough to protect depositors and the investing public. But Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Gbamitete, says a decision can only be taken after extensive investigations.
Bank of Ghana had called, the regulators because there's a regulators forum, you know, and I think the issue had come up that, look, this thing, who is the regulator? Who is regulating them, you know? So it was decided that, well, let all the regulators indicate their position in relation to this particular entity, whether they are a company that you regulate or not, you know. So we basically had to issue the statement to let the investing public know that the company in question, Men's Gold, is not a licensed capital market operator, you know. So and that is as far as we can go, because and that's why earlier on I indicated that before you invest in a company that you think is operating in the capital market, please just do a check with SEC. I'm looking forward to sometime in the future where you know, it will be easy to maybe go online or to visit the portal, you know, to ascertain these things. But for now, you can call our toll-free line. You can you know, call our main line just to find out whether a company or an entity purporting to be selling or managing capital market products is licensed by us. You know, so we basically wanted to let the general public know that there should be no ambiguity. Men's Gold is not a capital market operator because they've not come to us and they're not operating with a license that we have issued, you know. So that's just as much as we can say about the situation.
Moving on now, and government is still struggling to raise the required revenue as against what has been projected in this year's budget. That's the conclusion one may draw after going through the latest fiscal numbers ending July. But could this affect ongoing government projects? There's more in the following report.
According to data covering government's fiscal operations for the first 7 months of this year, managers of the economy were hoping to raise 24 billion cedis in revenue, but got 21 billion cedis. This was about 3 billion cedis short of the revenue targeted, and it was mainly due to challenges with collection of domestic taxes, which was also 2 billion cedis short of the 22 billion cedis projected. Apart from VAT, most of the various tax types failed to meet their targets. It's however not clear for now what could be the reason for this challenge. Government had earlier indicated that revenue numbers are usually not good in the first half of the year, but expected things to pick up in the third and fourth quarters. For some analysts, if things do not improve, then it's likely government could end the year missing out on its revenue target of 45 billion cedis. However, as of July this year, government had gotten 21 billion cedis of revenue targeted. The development would obviously have an impact on projects hoping to draw funding from these taxes, as well as overall.
You're watching Business Live. We are turning attention now to the Joy Business van. The smoke, referred to as batakari or fugu in the local parlance, used to be officially reserved for special occasions, but today they have become trendy thanks to designers such as Aisha Udwali. The startup is creative director and founder of Charliewood, the smoke brand, which is fast becoming popular. The Joy Business van takes you to her boutique today at Abavana Junction here in Accra. Aisha Udwali grew up in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region where smokes are very common. The traditional attire made from handloom strips is very popular in the 3 northern regions of Ghana, worn during special occasions. Charliewood began for Aisha in 2015 after national service in Accra.
I was thinking of whether to go back to school or what was I going to do after national service. So I started selling the traditional smokes. I did my service at Rosen Highway. So some of the directors could ask me, Aisha, when you go to the north, I want you to get me a smoke. So I was like, okay, then I think that's a business to start. So I started bringing the smokes. I go to Bolga and make them, the traditional ones. And then I bring and sell it to some of the directors and then some of the people at the ministry.
If you've worn a smoke before, then you'd have realized it is quite heavy, and some people Aisha sold to would complain. That sparked the creativity in her.
I used to get people say, oh, I like these things, but they're too heavy. So I sat down one day and I was like, okay, so what can I do to make it lighter, easier to wear, and then easy to handle? So I started making skirts, and I made one for myself first. So when I wore it, I went to the ministry to sell, and then somebody asked me like, oh, what's this made from? And I'm like, it's made from butter. Really? Can you make this? I'm like, yes. So that's how it actually started. So I started making skirts. Then along the line, I decided to make stuffs for the men as well. So that's how it all started, because I wanted to make it simpler, easy to handle, easy to wear, and make more people get attracted to what is actually coming from the north. Most of the time, I sit down and think about, that's when they say creative director. You have to sit down and think about what you want to do differently from what you have already done. So sometimes I just try and draw them myself. And then some of the women I work with, they also help me out with some of the designs. They draw them and show them to me. What do you think? Is it possible? Because our fabric is quite different from the African print. It's heavier to work with and very difficult to work with. So sometimes they draw the designs and they're like, Aisha, do you think the Batakari can do this? So it takes a process. We have to look at the design first, considering our machine, our fabric. So that's what goes into it.
Getting the smokes, though, is not an easy task.
I actually work with some of the artisans from Yerungu. It's a town in between Burkina and Bogatanga. So most of the artisans are there. I remember the first time I was going to see them myself. You know, when I got there, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. But I'm like, okay, if I don't do this anymore, how am I going to promote my stuffs? So getting there, it's a very rough road, and most of the people don't speak English. So if you can't speak Fafra or French, you can easily communicate with them. You can't easily communicate with them. So I remember the first time, you know, from the road through Boga was smooth. I was excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to see Yorumongo for the first time. You know, but after Bongo, you know, the road got very rough. The roads were really bad. So one of the challenges is with the people I work with, even the road to where they work. It's actually one of the problems for even our business. Because sometimes you can do stuff, but they're not on time, because getting them from Yerungu to Boga, before you bring it from Boga to Accra, it will take a very long while.
But Aisha makes the trip frequently anyway. Her trendy smock designs have caught on, earning Charliewood a place on the Ghana Startup Club 100.
I actually didn't know how, but you know, they opened up the platform for people to nominate businesses. So I didn't know whether somebody saw what I was doing and appreciated me and nominated me. I was just on my phone, and then I saw that somebody had tagged me on Facebook. And then when I checked, it was the Premium Startup Awards, and I saw Charliewood there with other businesses I've been admiring all these years. So I was like, okay, so I've been nominated with all these people. It means, you know, like I'm really doing well, and I can do better as well.
But even more gratifying for Aisha is the fact that she's making the smoke attire more popular and creating jobs for many in the north.
The reason why I actually started Charliewood was to make people appreciate what was coming from the north. And I've always loved made in Ghana goods. I remember when I used to be in secondary school, my slippers were made from Boga. You know, I make them into sandals and then take them to school. I was so different. So I think my love for made in Ghana goods, and then to just let people appreciate where I'm coming from and the things we have in the north. That's why I started Charliewood.
There's more business news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can get yourself updated. That'll be it for our program tonight. My name is Darryl Kwa.